Well, welcome back to my channel. This is Endless Roads. I'm back in Missouri now. I've been back here about 7 days. Going to be back probably for maybe 4 to 5 weeks. Had some things to do. I had to take care of the new ID that you got, the real ID. Can't do that in the Philippines. Plus, my bank card, the chip stopped working. And I couldn't really use it anywhere except in one ATM in the Philippines. So I decided to come back and get a new one. I also have to see Social Security because I'm going to turn 65 at in about 2 months. And they're, automatically, if you don't pick something, they're automatically apply plan A, B, C, or D, whatever for you, and can't use it in the Philippines. So I want to make sure that whatever I get doesn't take anything from my money, because I don't need my money to go down for health insurance that I can't use here in the Philippines. I mean, in the Philippines. But I'm not for sure anymore if we're going to be able to do videoing in the Philippines anyway. I've been debating about if I'm going to keep going with this channel or start a new channel or do 2 channels at one time, because according to the new rules in the Philippines, with anybody that's working online, they have to register with the government, and you have to pay taxes and stuff like that on any money you make off of YouTube. Now, second of all is they're going extreme on this policy about not filming anybody. Okay, now if you're walking down the street and you're talking, somebody walks into your lens view, you have to blur their faces. But then by doing so, if you have to blur everybody's faces, how in the world can you actually make a video? Now, a lot of my top videos are when I'm at the beach or if I go to some of these big festivals. Now, the way I understand it, you cannot get an app to just automatically blur everybody's face out on the video. Now, my Guatemala, with the San Guana Festival, I almost got 3,000 views on that within a few days, and that was a couple years ago. And every day right now I'm still getting 10 to 20 a day people watching, most likely probably Filipinos. Now, if I have to go through that video, because I don't know if it's pro or reactive, where they pass the law and anything from that time on or back. But if I would have to go back there, I literally would have to blur out 350 people's faces to make that video worth staying up. Now, a couple people did say that it only applies to the people that's monetized. But some people that talk to lawyers said, no, it don't. It applies for everybody. If you are videotaping with anything, if you're using your phone, you have a professional camera, you have, I don't know, Google glasses on, you cannot film anybody without their permission. Now, I actually ran into this probably about 6-7 months ago. I was walking down the street, literally down the street, camera straight out in front of me, talking, facing at me. Security guards came out, started yelling at me about filming their school. And I'm like, no. I showed them that, and they said, I don't care. They go, you can't walk down this street filming because we have school here, and some kid might come out. Now, I'm used to American rules, and I don't really think they're right on that. But, if I'm not deliberately going up to the school and filming it, I should be able to walk down the middle of the street and take a video just like everybody else does. But no, they see me as a foreigner, and they single me out, and they basically said that if I didn't delete the YouTube video I was making right there and then, that they were going to call the police on me. So I literally had to delete that video, then go down the street, past the school, and start the whole thing over, which was already 15-20 minutes into the video. And then I realized, well, I don't want to go this again. Every time I got down the street, I had to stop the video, get past the school or anything like that, that I would, like a police department, fire department, you know, turn it off, turn it back on, and then start the video again. So when you watch the video, it's not a smooth thing going through. It's chopped in half. So yeah, that's going to make it very difficult. Now I just came about a month ago. I was in northern Samar, and we were up there looking for land, and I thought I was going to do fishing. If you want to see my videos, you can go back and look at them. But I got a lot of people in those videos. There's no way that you cannot get people in your video walking down the street, talking about each city that you're into, or going on the beach like I was on Spice Beach. There's 2 Spice Beaches out there. One the major one and a smaller one. I was in the smaller one, but still there was about 400 people on that beach. Now, I could probably find some app, because I really don't know how. I'm not computer tech wise where I know how to do this stuff yet, but I guess I could learn. But how long would that take to try to remove everybody's face, especially when they're running up and down the beach and jumping in the water and barbecuing and all that? I don't think the Philippines really realize that they're actually going to be hurting themselves, because a lot of these videos is what brings people to the Philippines. A lot of the tourists that come there and expats, the good ones and the bad ones, I will admit there's a lot of bad ones that come too. They get the idea from these videos. You cut it off and say nobody can do it, you're going to lose a lot of people coming in. And you're going to lose a lot of people that came there for not just video, but let's say they're working online. Now, they came to there because the cost of living was steep, because working online, you're not going to make a lot of money. So you have to go where the cheapest place to live is to work online. So maybe they're teaching English, or they got some company they're working for, and now if they're in there, now they got to pay taxes in their country, taxes in the Philippines, and then a special tax for YouTube, our intern thing, and you got to buy a special visa for that, which is a lot higher. It's really going to hurt their tourist business. Now I believe that well, that Virali guy, they said, started this. Well, a lot of people say that. I do believe that, but I also believe it's old YouTubers here. Now, I have never been to Dumaguete, but the nickname for Dumaguete now is Dramageddon, because of all the YouTubers fighting with each other. You know, I don't know if it's jealousy, or somebody stealing somebody's content and putting it on theirs, or what. Now I'm going to mention some YouTubers' name, and I want them to know. I'm not saying anything against you. I'm just pointing the stuff out. There's this guy named Sunshine Shoulders, and he made a video about the 4Fs. You come here, you meet some girl, you feed them, you do this, this, and this, you know what I mean? And then you forget them. The last one, you forget them. And another blogger who was attacking one of my favorite bloggers called the NBA on him, saying about he was defaming the Filipino girl, and he was putting pictures of young girls on there. And, you know, I don't know what happened with that, because once I see drama on the YouTube channel, between YouTube channels, that's not what I watch for. I watch to see if there's something that I don't know. Even though I've been there for 7 years, I always learn something, especially from the Filipino bloggers, you know. But I don't want to watch that drama. But when you're calling the Federal Bureau of Philippine Investigation on each other, that's what's going to bring a lot of this crap down on you. Almost lost it there and said the wrong word. But then you got also this guy, Filipino Journey. He was attacking Filipino P. And saying horrible things about her. And I don't see him on there anymore. But he's talking about reporting her. Then there was somebody going to go report this guy, regular guy, for what he was doing, which I didn't see anything wrong with him. You know, actually, there's not too many YouTubers on there. Can't even think of one that's actually stepped over the line where he needs to be called on. But we're doing it to ourselves. We helped this law come into effect because we can't just get on with our lives. Now, see, me personally, I don't want to get monetized here. I don't need the money. I'm like most of the Filipinos, well, I don't mean Filipinos, foreigners in there. I need something to do. You know, you're retired. You can't work in the Philippines. You can't do this. You can't do that. So I do a YouTube channel, and I explain my things. But it's the people that can't. Do they come there and they're like, oh, I'm going to come here and I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to make a lot of money. And that, oh, somebody's ahead of me. I got to bring them down. That's at least what I see. That's why I see all this drama going back and forth from everybody. And second of all, I actually mentioned this with some of my Filipino friends. And when they heard it, they say, oh, wow, that's BBM's senior law from the 1980s. And then I start putting things together too. And you got BBM Junior and BBM Senior. And they're doing the same step. You know, daddy did this, this, and this. Now son's going to do this and this and that. I don't know if it's if he thought it was a good idea that his dad has, or if he's trying to reinstate his dad's stuff 50 years later. But according to what I understood, this Filipino, she told me that BBM put a whole bunch of rules about defaming Philippines in any way, shape, or form. So if you're walking down the street and you have a bunch of poor Filipino kids sitting on the street with their hands out, or you walk into, you're doing what I called poverty tours. Some call it slum porn, but it's actually poverty tours. And what's the weird thing was is that before, when I first got here to the Philippines back in 2017, the Philippines were doing that themselves. They would actually invite people to come see where the real extremely poor people live, and people would pay to come to see it. It was a tour. But now with the YouTube and stuff, they're actually, you know, they're not happy with it now. You know, if you have a person come and see it, and that's fine. You know, especially if they're paying the government or a tour agency to go to these extreme poor places. But now you're anybody can just walk through there and take a picture. They're like, no, this ain't gonna happen. We don't want you to see the ugly side. There's only the beautiful side here, and this is all you can show. You know, at least my opinion. That's how I think it's going on. Now, one more thing is that I have family members through my marriage, and I have a lot of those. And I mean, I got 23 nephews. My wife's cousins, probably over 100, and then their spouse and their kids. You're talking about 500-600. Now, I just did a video also there in Northern Samoa, in a little village that's only 2,000 people that lives in the whole thing, you know, 2,000, if that. And they had this festival. And 95% of the beauty patches, which was quite a few, I got them on there, beautiful ladies. I took a picture of them all dancing down their gowns because it's a beauty pageant. If you want to do a video of a beauty pageant, you have to take a picture of the things. You can't walk up to every person in the beauty pageant and say, I'm going to do a video. Can you write out a permission slip so you can be on my YouTube channel? It's not going to work. Now, like I said, 95% of the people around there is related to my thing. But there's probably about 12 or 13 of those girls I don't know which one is related to my wife or not. You know, what somebody say, hey, he's got these girls on there, and they go through it and they say, well, yeah, well, most of them is related to him, but the other three aren't. I'm in trouble. Yeah, I don't really know any answer to doing the video. Another guy I like, sorry, but I can't remember his name, but he's a really nice guy from England. He said lives down there close to Minadale, around Minadale, and I apologize because I didn't get your name, but yeah, he likes to go fishing. He's got a boat out there. If you watch my channel, he knows what I'm talking about. He made a pretty good statement when he says we're all going to just end up being talking heads. You know, like right now I'm sitting in this place, you know, and I'm talking to you about it. Where if I was in the Philippines right now, I would be doing the same thing because I can't walk down the street because I don't have the technology or the knowledge how to blur everybody's face out. And when I do, who's going to watch that? I mean, would you want to watch a video about, oh, maybe you want to come here because you want to find a wife and you want to see what it's like, but everybody's got their head cut off. You know, it don't work. I'm probably going to still do this channel, but it's going to have a rating of C, not PG, PC, politically correct. That way I'm not going to get into any trouble in that. So what you hear from me will be the truth, but I'll be basically avoiding any subject that would get me in trouble, you know, because if I can't talk about the health system there or the crime rate ratio or anything like that most expats would want to learn if they were going to come there, then, you know, it's going to be very G and PC, politically correct and general audience that anybody can watch in that, and it's not going to get anybody upset. You know, I'm going to talk about, oh, here's a beach, there's a beach, you know, here's the food prices. I'm not going to compare it to anything like that. But on my new channel, that's what I'm going to get to now. It's going to be a podcast. Now, I had 4 people that's been asking to do a podcast with me. And I really would like, I like the idea of what they had. The problem is the time zone. Now, I'm going to be in the Philippines. And I had a guy in the United States here who lives here. And he's the one who came to me and said that he would like to do a podcast with me. And I had a friend that I was talking to before saying that it'd be really cool talking about North and South, like, you know, East meets West. And he's in Eastern Europe, and he said, well, he would like to do a podcast. And then I got this friend that was in the Philippines, and now he's back in England. He went there to do a podcast with somebody, but they decided they didn't want to do it anymore. So I really like to do this podcast. The problem I'm trying to work out now is we're all in different time zones. So somebody's going to be up in the middle of the night all the time. Someone's going to be in the afternoon, evening, morning. But the subject's going to be just basically covering everything from theology, just social issues, to political, to war. I mean, we could talk stuff about what caused the Ukraine-Russian war. Is there any right or wrong in the Israel war? The internal fighting between the Republicans and the internal fighting in the Democrats, and how everybody's flooding into the independents right now. And would it be a bad thing or a good thing that if the parties just dissolve and everybody's just independent? You know, we're just getting stuff like that. Social stuff like Diddy in his sex trial right now. Well, his everything trial, human trafficking trial, his drug trial, stuff like that. Is he a criminal, or is he just a sex addicted person who has taken it to the streams? You know, just like a junkie who needs to up his dose every time to get the same effect. To me, that's what it sounds like with him. He just keeps perverting up more because to get that same gratification. Uh, Churches talk about stuff like what is a church? There's, what makes a church and what makes a cult? And how come there is 5,500 recognized Christian denominations? Compare it to Muslims, Hindu, Buddha, Confucius. You know, we're just going to get into everything and see where it goes. I mean, if it takes off, it takes off. If it don't, you know, after a couple months trying, I'll drop it. If it takes off good, that's fine. But I still do this channel. But like I said, it's going to be rated PC, politically correct, because you know, you don't want to make the person's country you're in mad at you and kick you out. You know, personally, is why I left the United States and went there in the first place. And if the country keeps changing its policy, I have come to realize, you can't keep jumping from country to country, you know. I was very upset. I said, well, I'll just go to Argentina. And found out Argentina just changed their lot of rules and policies there too. You know, income goes also, the financial stuff goes up, stuff goes down. And then I thought about the media, but I'm like, you know, you just can't keep jumping around. I'm going to be 65 in a couple months, you know. Probably only got 10 years left to do anything. So, do I really want to keep changing my area? Plus, my wife, not child, sorry, I got up early. My wife is going to probably outlive me by 20 years. Oh, I got to make plans for her, you know. So, we found this house in Eastern Samar, and it's 700,000 pesos. You know, I can make that in a couple of months here, maybe 3-4 months, and just go back and buy it. Or I could just finance it like everybody else does, finance the land, because it's already got a house on it. I don't know what the house is in, what type of condition. The lot's not very big. It's about 40 foot by 40 foot. The house on it is 20 by 20. So you got some little bit of lot around there if I wanted to increase it and that. But I have to plan for my wife, you know. What really makes me angry as hell is these people who go over here and they marry a Filipino and they don't make no plans for them. Some of them take off, which is really horrible because they leave them with kids and stuff like that and just take off for no reason. Or other ones come there and they're living on Social Security in a rental apartment and they have no way for that, or after they die, and they die. And they're stuck. Actually, before I met my wife, I met this girl. I'm not going to say her last name, but her first name was Rosie. And she was way down in Mindanao. And I asked her if she had married before, and she goes, yes, I married an Australian man. I said, oh. I said, did he take you to Australia? He said, no, he was planning to. He kept saying he was going to. And I was with him for 8 years. And then one day he went out in the boat because he found out he had cancer and off himself. You know, he went for a swim to the bottom and didn't come up. And left her destitute. Just like that. And there's another friend of mine. She also married a foreigner. I'm not for sure what country he was from. But he came in there and he just rented a place. Never worried about setting up anything for her. Had a stroke. A week later he was dead. When she was destitute. Because, you know, he was there for a long time. He didn't, you know, even with the SSS Social Security they have, he could have put money in that. And if he didn't want to have to do that, you know, deal with that, he could have just dropped $60 a month into a bank account for her, you know, and if he's with her for 10 years, at least she would have that 3,000 pesos, $60, it's a little bit more or less than 3,000 pesos to live on. Because most SSS payments are only around 1,000 to 2,000 anyway. Now, that's what I've been doing with my wife. I've been putting money in there every month. You know, hopefully I'll make it 10, 15 years. I hope a lot longer than that. But if I do, you know, at least she's set up. And that's why I buy the house, you know. It's not for me, it's for her, you know, because I'll be gone, you know. But also, I'm going to try out there because in the Philippines you have two lifestyles. You have the high city life and the slower province life. Now, I've been doing the city life for 7 years. Yeah, I have all the modern convenience of anything in America or any modern thing, you know. Got malls, grocery store, all the international restaurants from other countries are there, you know. But not much to do besides going to the mall and doing things indoors, you know. You can't, we have a couple small parks around the biggest, dirtiest lake. There I go again, not being familiar correct, but the dirtiest lake in Southeast Asia. It's the biggest lake and the dirtiest. And can't do anything with that. I wouldn't even eat the fish out of the thing for fishing. So I've been doing that for a while. And I am very getting depressed sitting in that city all the time with nothing to do but, you know, video every 2 weeks and, you know, going bowling and stuff like that. Unless you're really into that type of sport, like playing pool, shooting darts, you know, bowling, it gets boring after a while. Now, me, I'm a big fishing person. That's what I did here in the Missouri. I hit all the big lakes, Table Rock Lake, Wapapella Lake, Stockton, you know, you name it. I fished those things for years. The two biggest rivers in the United States, the Mississippi and Missouri. Really liked it, you know. Now, can't do that there. And when I went there, I tried to fish off the bank, and you got that long coral reef that you can't really get out there to the deep fish. But once I get out there, get there, I can get a boat, go out fishing, you know, give it to my wife. She wants to sell it, she can. You know, she wants to eat it, she wants to give it to the neighbors, she can do that, you know. But, yeah, I'm going to try that and see how that works out. Now, I'm not going, 700,000 pesos is a not big investment, really, that you can't lose. Now, if I get that place, I don't like it, maybe we can find somebody to rent it out, then we'll try something from there. My wife is very open to anything. She said she wouldn't mind coming to America, but I told her no because the cost of living here, even since I got back here in the last 7 days, I have seen it increase since the last time I was here 2 years ago. I mean, extremely high. But I said, you know what? The world is open to us. You know, we can, if for some reason we both are not happy with the province life, we can try somewhere else. Argentina, Peru. We can go to Eastern Europe, like Armenia or Poland, or you know, it's one of those cheaper Eastern Europe countries. I mean, I've traveled a lot in my life, but mostly all 50 states in America, Mexico, and Canada, Philippines, and Korea. That's it. But there's always something new there, you know. You never know what you might find. But if I find myself very contented in there in the province, and I was very contented when I was there a month ago, as long as you're not too close to your family. I'm not saying anything about family, it's just that when you're too close and you see each other every day, then that's when the fight starts. I just watched this on several guys talking about their family, and they're living right next to their in-laws, and they're there all the time, and, you know, money situations come up, and you help them out, they can't give you the money back, so you have to give it, the money situation comes up again, they can't give it back. Pretty soon there's a fight because you're like, no, you know, I've done this 3 or 4 times, you know, it's kind of hurting my family, then there's hurt feelings, you know. So, yeah, if you, I want to go there, but I'm going to be a little bit separated where it's not like they can walk over your house in 5 minutes and be knocking on your door. But like I said, we'll all see how it turns out. You know, life's a journey. You know, it's got a starting point, it's got an ending point, and the main thing is that you enjoy it all the way through. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get out here, and I'll talk about more. I'm going to do a lot more videos now that I'm here in the United States. When I was in the Philippines, I always had to run for somebody else, you know. Well, at least I got this 4 weeks. Except for a week, I'm actually going to go up to Iowa to a music festival and car festival up there for a week. I'm going to check it out. I'll probably do a couple of videos about that too. But yeah, I'll do some more videos in that, and I'll get more into detail about my podcast I'm going to be doing. Also, what name I'm going to come up. I know I said that in my last 2 videos, but it's really hard to come up with a title for your podcast that somebody else don't have, and still has to be unique for somebody who wants to watch it. You know, like my Endless Roads here. I thought that was very unique, right? And then somebody puts on 9936, and I'm like, why is that? And then I typed it in there, Endless Roads, and there was like 27 different channels with that. So I'm going to have to take a little time and come up with a good title that does not nobody else has. You know. Anyway, this is Hot Cup of Joe, and I'm sitting here in mid-Missouri. I hope wherever you're at, the creeks ain't rise, and you're enjoying yourself, and you stay all right until I see you again.